Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back. First game of the season, Daniel. Exeter City went to the class of 92 FC. Got a 2-2 draw.
Not bad.
Salford City. I didn't think Salford was a city. I thought it was part of Manchester. But
it
whatever.
is part of Manchester, I think, isn't it?
So they're just piggybacking off the back of something more successful.
I mean, when can you...
A bit like when Argyle claimed to be part of Devon.
Do they still do that thing where it's, if you've got a cathedral, then you're a city?
Yeah, and then the Queen started dishing them out willy-nilly.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's changed?
It's changed.
So Salford could well be... I mean, let's be honest. The Queen's probably dished them out one just because they're the class of 92.
Do you think so?
Yeah, they're getting all sorts of preferential treatment, aren't they?
Oh, come on, Your Majesty.
They're in the pocket of Sky Sports as well, aren't they? You know, like...
Yeah.
Scum. Anyway,
it doesn't matter because we gave them a good old goal. I think people were nervous about this game. Salford obviously have spent cash like there's no tomorrow, which there might not be.
And they're sort of like, I think they're probably quite, bookies fancy them, do they? I suppose.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. A lot of money spent on that lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, and we know in football that eventually, if you keep throwing money at something long enough, then you'll succeed. Like that is how it works.
Yeah, and so with this nervousness, the start of the game couldn't have gone worse. They scored with about 1 minute 20 on the clock.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I didn't watch it. I was away. You did. You watched it on the iFollow.
We were like everyone else stuck on the iFollow.
Did you find a way of hooking up to the telly?
No, nothing. But I did take it to the garden instead.
Okay, so that's the advantage, I suppose.
Swings and roundabouts. But it was an absolute balls up. I think Atangana was at fault. I mean, we just started very sluggishly. We played a long ball. I honestly, the first 80 seconds of that game, I was like, my heart was in absolutely in my stomach.
Yeah.
Or whatever the phrase is. Like, I sunk about the game because we just played a long ball from the centre, from the kickoff, which got mopped up by Salford. Basically, they played it forward nicely. Atangana was nowhere to be seen.
Well, he lost the ball, didn't he? And worryingly, we seem to have two problems, and both of them were present in that goal. One, our centre midfielders struggling to have any sort of grip on the possession of the ball.
Yep.
And crosses into the box.
So it felt like, like we've just thumped it forward to Bowman, who hasn't won it. It's come back straight through the midfield, ball into the box. McArdle, it's quite hard to work out exactly what happened. I think my interpretation is it was too low for a head and too high for a foot. So he kind of stooped.
I've watched it back a few times on the highlights, and I can't really see what's going on.
No. Anyway, their striker picked it up and put it away. There's nothing Lewis Ward could do. Terrible, terrible start.
Yeah, not what you want for your league debut either, is it, for your new club,
no.
McArdle? Part of that brand new defence as well, so that new defence lasted all of about a minute before it was
yeah.
It was
shambolic.
And that's just, and I think it wasn't the first goal conceded in the Football League, like that kicked off at that time.
Oh, wasn't it? Okay.
I think there was one before that, but it was very close.
Great. And of course, Facebook lit up with what I'm going to call top pundits with the helpful phrase "Taylor out." Honestly, it took him 90 seconds.
Wow.
I mean, credit to that guy. He probably already typed it out and was ready just to press enter when that goal went in. Taylor out.
Or maybe it was a mistake. Maybe he was just had his phone out, texting sort of on the go, and he meant to text his wife to tell her that he couldn't get her dress fixed that day because the tailor was out. But he'd accidentally posted it onto a Facebook.
I mean,
message.
That seems more like that. Seems more sensible.
Possible. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Because this guy was rapid. He was more rapid than midfield had been to pick up that loose ball. Let's say that. But within minutes, actually, City recovered straight away. Just dusted it off themselves, and then we had a really good half of football. Really good. Everything that you kind of hope from a youthful team. With a bit of experience was great. So the lineup, I think, was 4-4-2. Lewis Ward in goal. Brand new defence, like you say. I think it was 4 in midfield. Jake Taylor on the right of midfield. Collins and Atangana in the middle. And then and then Joel Randall on the left initially.
Yeah.
And then up front, you're either going to call it a 4-4-1-1, Matt Jay sitting deeper than Bowman, or you're going to call it a 4-5-1 with Jay advanced in the midfield. I mean, you could give it some other number.
He's in the hole.
he's in the hole, the messy role.
Yeah.
So that's how we played from then on. Like, it took him those 90 seconds to get going, and then we had all the chances, all the possession anyway. And I thought, this could be one of those games again where we have a lot of possession and can't do anything with it. Bristol City the week before was like that, wasn't it? But actually, fair play to him, we put 2 very good goals away. So it was 2-1 at half time. The goals were really well worked.
Yeah, so the first one's Matt J, isn't it? And that's
so Bowman battles for it. So it's a loose ball by Salford.
Bowman loses it, I think, actually what happens. He gets tackled. But luckily it bounces to Matt J.
That's what happens.
Takes it through, and it's a great finish, isn't it? Left foot and right into the bottom corner. I feel like I've seen him do that exact finish so many times, where you think he's going to maybe put it in the top corner on the left-hand side, and he sort of cuts it into the bottom right-hand corner. Or I've seen it doing it and do the reverse before. He's
really good with his feet, isn't he, Jay? And
yeah.
I think he's progressing all the time, and it was a lovely finish.
I think we've seen a solid progression with him generally, like through last season. I think he, and the season before that, especially the second part of the season before last, and every chance he got last season. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before, but if you look at his numbers, his goals per game is like outstanding.
Yep.
I haven't got the figures to hand, but they're definitely really good. And he seems to always. He's just got an eye for goal, and that's something we've sort of sorely missed. So, again, we've got the age-old question, though, of does he keep his place?
So Nicky Law was on the bench.
Yeah, and he does come on for Jay, right, later on in the game.
He comes on later on, yeah. I think it works really well. I think Jay's experienced enough now, and Law is old enough now that actually it's a...
you can do a bit of both.
You can do a bit of both, and it's not an either or, it's a both together. At different times of the game, I mean. What I mean is I don't think Law's going to be like, I can't believe I'm not playing. And I don't think Jay's going to be, or I don't think the supporters are going to be like, can't believe Jay's starting ahead of Law.
So you think it's not necessarily going to be Law unless he's injured?
No.
Which it was before, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Last season it was. But I think actually it's a real indication that
nice.
Jay's cementing himself in there.
So then what happens with goal number 2?
Goal number 2 is from a corner. We previously had a... nicely worked down the wing thing from Joel Randall. Good cross in. Bowman put it just wide. But yeah, then it comes from a corner a couple of minutes later. Matt J, corner in. Short corner, comes back to J, puts the ball across. McCardle keeps it alive. Bowman does that thing he does of sticking his arse into people, which means the defender kind of misses it. Comes to Taylor on the edge of the box. Absolute blinger. Straight in. Crossbar, I think. I don't know if the keeper touched it or not. Crossbar. Joel Randall's there to score a header. His first league goal.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, not a beautiful goal, but really nice work.
But what were we saying only 1 week ago on this very show?
We were saying that he needs
Joel
a goal.
It would be good for him to get a goal soon, wouldn't it? To get him off and running.
It was.
So he's obviously paying attention.
Tuned in. Well done, Joel.
So that's great for him, isn't it?
Yeah,
and he looked
brilliant.
pleased with it, and quite rightly. And so we were on top there. We deserved a goal, right?
Absolutely. And we could have had more. Look, the Bowman miss. Taylor had a chance. There was also a chance for a Bowman penalty. His feet get clipped, but he stays on his feet and doesn't score.
Taylor was adamant that that was a pen in the interview afterwards.
Yeah.
But the ref disagreed.
Yeah, I think.
But that would have been enough, surely, from what I've seen.
If we'd gone in 3-1 at half time, we would have done it. Yeah.
So they pull one back, don't they? But up until that point, it's not like we're not fortunate in this game, are we?
No, first half was ours. Like, ignoring those 90 seconds at the beginning, we played a really, really good half of football. What Taylor asked from them, remember he said about the Bristol City game, if we start like that. Now, of course, we did start terribly, but we really, really quickly addressed the problem. And
it's such a shame, isn't it? Because, I mean, it seems like it was almost nothing to do with the rest of the game, that first minute.
No, it wasn't.
And obviously, you've got to be alive from the first second. So, really, no excuses. But it's a shame that we were that dominant for the whole rest of it. Once it got going, that one mistake and we're already on the back foot.
I think two things happened. I think it was a good kick up the backside for us, And I think Salford were like, hey. I really felt like that. And so from then on...
But they kind of thought, we're going to
they thought it was going to be a 5-0, you know. And they had a lot of... No, they didn't have a lot. There were balls through they played. It wasn't that they had no possession, but they didn't do anything with it in the first half. And we well deserved the lead. And like I say, it could have been 3-1 up. Obviously, we hadn't conceded that stupid goal. 3-1 up, or even 2-0 up.
Yep.
We're coming in with 3 points. Course, second half, Salford made changes at half-time. They know what they're doing, don't they? The manager's good and experienced, and
well, yeah, they've got a lot of quality players there, haven't they? I mean, they should be up in the top.
Well, their budget probably is the highest in the league, isn't it?
Yeah,
them or Bolton.
So, but we'll see.
We'll see. But then second half, the pressure was on for 15-20 minutes. They got a goal at about 65. We had more chances, and actually, even when they equalised, again they kind of stepped back. There were some thoughts that Taylor at 2-1 should have done something. I'm not convinced, if I'm honest. I think Taylor's often accused of being too defensive when we're ahead, and he wasn't. He didn't make any changes in advance of them scoring. And although they had chances, we weren't looking in danger. We weren't looking in desperate danger. Lewis Ward made some good saves. There was one maybe just before they equalised.
I mean, what do you do? We're not. Yeah. Do you? It's not like we're playing a very attacking formation. What we would have done in the past is when we were playing the sort of 3-5-2 kind of thing, we would maybe have reverted to a 4-4-2 if things needed tightening up a bit. But you're already playing the 4-4-2. So what do? Put another one further back? Do you? I mean, put another holding midfielder in? What do you want to do there? Do you mean the players have to be trusted to do their job?
And I think they were.
Otherwise, they're not good enough. You know.
I don't think it was a mistake. Like what I'm saying is 2-2 was probably a fair result, but we definitely had the chances to win. So about 10 minutes to go, Law comes on for Jay, and at that point, and then a couple of minutes later, Sweeney comes on for Taylor. So then we see Josh Key at right wing. By the way, Randall and Taylor swapped sides a bit, so they were both
okay.
They were both interchanging a bit, and actually, so Collins was also appearing in different places, and then Josh Key.
That's something we did quite a lot last season with the man whose name
we'll talk about in a minute. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
EU shall not be mentioned.
Dead to me. That's all I'll say.
Josh Key went up to right wing and looked really, really good. And what's really brilliant about we've talked already, haven't we, about the decrepit nature of potential centre-back pairing. So we saw Will Dean there instead of Tom Parks.
Yeah.
So that's a younger, livelier player.
I think that's what it's got to be. I think that's the idea there surely is the combination of experience and a good promising young player and that working, that partnership being kind of mutually beneficial.
With
Whereas
Dean,
I don't think but I just don't think you can go. I think when you've got Parks, McArdle, I mean maybe that's sort of a bit more kind of like a stronger kind of a bigger kind of presence, but that's too slow in it.
You'll always find people bigger than you, even when you're those two paired at the back.
Well, as we've seen over the years,
and you'll definitely find someone quicker than you if you're those two. So Dean there looked really good. He looked really good, and it really reminded me of Jordan's Story. Remember, who kind of came out of nowhere and then just cemented himself in. And I was really impressed with all of them. Like,
I mean, if he's anywhere near as good a Story, we'll be fine this season, won't he, in that position? So
I think the Bowman. People talk about Bowman again. I think he did exactly what we hoped he might. He made a nuisance of himself. He created space. He's not a gilt-edged finisher, but he is a absolute pain in the neck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I'm not going to say anything against Bowman unless we're relying on him for goals. And I know we only got a point, but we scored 2 goals from the areas of the players that, if this is the idea, then it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the goal scoring side of things is going, Bowman's there to, if that's what it looks like it is, and even if that's not the plan, this is what's happening, is that he's there to upset things, move things around.
Literally stick his backside into the groin of a defender.
And we've got some talented attackers around him, and as long as they can get goals, we should be right. I mean, he is going to have to chip in some of his own, and it is a bit tough when you see him miss clear chances that do fall to him. Yeah. That header, you've got to hit the target there. He's 3 yards out. It's a perfect cross. It is disappointing, and you do sort of wonder whether to be a kind of promotion side, you'd need someone better than him there as well as everything else you've got. Do you know what I mean? I'd be confident for promotion, and especially in even like top 3, or maybe not, but I'd be a lot more confident if Ryan Bowman was someone who was you could rely on for goals as well as doing the other things he does. You know,
yeah.
And I think that's, and maybe it'll won't hinge entirely on that, but I think that will play a part in the season. But we'll see.
Like you said, that's 2 goals against a well-fancied team. We also hit 3 against Forest Green in the week.
Yep.
In that we're not really going to, unfortunately, like we said, listeners, we can't really go into everything because of the hectic nature of this season. But that's 5 goals in 2 games. That's already much more encouraging than the end of the season that got curtailed.
Definitely. Yep.
So I liked all that stuff that we saw there. I think first game back, weird circumstances, playing against the top team. Full credit to Exeter City.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad. I also really like that you can hear Matt Taylor a lot more when there's no crowd there.
Yeah, and you can hear, I guess it's Dan Green, is it? Is that his assistant? You can hear him a lot as well.
Wayne Carlisle
Wayne Carlisle, yeah. One of those, you can hear them a lot in the highlights.
Matt Taylor shouting, "Back yourself" a lot, which I really like. Yeah. Back yourself.
It seems to be always shouting at Collins as well. Archie!
I guess his name's, it's really obvious it's his name, isn't it? You're not picking up on... some of their other names are shared amongst the players, Josh or whatever, but there's only one Archie.
Yeah,
playing.
maybe.
Anyway, I thought it was a really good start to League 2 this season. So off the field news, Daniel. 2 big things.
Yes.
Which one should we go with first?
Let's go with the exit.
The exit. So
Randall, both exits in a way, but Randall Williams.
Randall Williams has... Well, he didn't start on Saturday. There were already rumours flying around. Lots of offers come in. Yeah. Looks like he's going to...
That we've accepted as well. That's
So we've accepted the offer.
Yeah.
And it's not yet been... He's not yet been revealed. Is this right?
I don't think so, no.
We're Monday morning here, listeners, but...
Yeah. I think we've accepted a few offers, and he was talking to a few people, but
looks like it's
very unlikely that he's not going to go. Put that way.
So he didn't start Saturday. He wasn't on the bench. Obviously, it's all happening. Looks like he's going to Hull City.
Hull. Right.
Come Hull or high water, he'll be leaving us.
The Tigers.
Yeah, the Hull City Tigers. I mean, that's a very long way from Exeter. I don't think I've ever been to Hull.
No, me neither.
It's got a long bridge.
Yeah.
The Humber.
Okay.
It
was once voted the worst place to live in the UK.
I believe it was. Anyway, Randall's going there, it looks like. Undisclosed fee, but the suggestion is, I think this is right, we get 50% of his sale. Watford get 50% of his sale.
I think they get around 40 and we get the
right?
rest. Yeah, and it's talk of around 400 grand, is that right?
Yes, I believe that's...
I think last season we were talking about thinking it might be a bit more than that.
Yeah, I mean... He did himself no favours, unfortunately, for his price tag in the League 2 final.
True. And also, there's less time left on his contract now as well.
Yeah. But that's really helpful to City, obviously, to get that money in. It's a real shame he's leaving so close to the start of the season.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's very close. And doesn't leave us a huge amount of time to do anything about it, does it? But
no, I mean, and maybe we're not. I think... Probably we all need to come to the realisation that times are really hard.
Yeah, it's fine. Like whatever. Like this is what it's like. You can't look around at Premier League football and top European football and think the same things are going to happen at our level, especially given the circumstances. Completely insane circumstances. We need all the money we can get.
So we might just be pocketing that $250,000. And, I mean, obviously pocketing makes it sound like someone's getting rich off it. It stays in our bank account and makes our bank account look healthier.
What about the Range Rover Fund? This is the main thing people talk about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what people go on about.
We have never talked about that, and I think that's to our credit.
I just think it's very difficult to run a football club, and we do it with aplomb. We don't. We're nothing to do with it. But
we are sort of to do with it because you're a trust member.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, you don't have much. You have a huge amount to say. Yeah, but you know.
Let's say this. Let's say the pandemic comes to a nice, fairly straightforward end some point in this football season. Let's say that happens, and I guess that's plausible. The vaccinations happen, or they find a cure, or whatever.
Right.
And come season 21-22, football's fairly back to normal. I realise there'll be a recession, and I realise those kind of things. But in terms of then 4,000 people coming to matches and sponsorship being available, that's kind of normal.
Okay.
If we started next season and we've been careful with that money and the other money we're going to talk about in a minute, then maybe it just means that next season, maybe we just have to think the long-term goal is that next season we can really challenge.
Yeah, because replacing him right now, that's the short term.
Yeah.
That's short term, isn't it?
And it's very much a seller's market.
Yeah.
By this time in the year.
If this was a normal season, no pandemic, then I'd be expecting to use a bit of the money. You maybe want to keep some to put back into the club. You spend some on a replacement, and who knows, maybe we will. But I think probably there's a good chance we won't, and maybe it'll just mean that we can get someone in on loan using maybe a small amount of that money.
Yeah. Or come January. We might think in January, actually, that's when we need it.
And it's not like the club haven't known that Randell Williams is probably going to leave. I mean, if this is happening now, they've known about that this was going to happen for a while.
Yeah. And, there's the other factor. There's two other factors, actually. Thing number one, we might go and spend all of that money right now on a centre forward, let's say. But then in 2 weeks' time, Lewis Ward breaks his leg. Okay? Yep. Then you're down to one keeper. And then you're, like casting around, and then Maxted's injured, or Maxted gets an offer on the last day of the season, and he goes. It's very, very prudent to hold on to some cash. And thing number two, we don't know how delicately balanced that squad is. We do know that actually there are some quite interesting characters there. Like probably Lewis Page has come here knowing that he's going to get a really good run out. Maybe Jake Caprice the same. Ben Seymour wanted to leave, and Taylor's talked him into it and said, no, you'll get proper game time in the league.
Yeah.
We might think, we're here thinking, if only he'd go and buy Tristan Abrahams, right? And then, who got another goal for Newport again this weekend.
Well, I'm glad I don't care about him.
No, as an example.
No, he's good. Yeah,
and then
sure.
It comes, and then that messes up the whole balance. And these players that we've really delicately brought on, and in the future will sell for a significant amount of money, they leave for no money, or much less money.
We don't know anything.
We don't know any of that stuff.
That's definitely plausible, yeah. Yeah, it's everyone leaves, don't they? That's just the nature of it, unfortunately. And we shouldn't even look at it like that, really. We shouldn't look at it even in a way as, he's left. It's just like he's carried on.
We've had him for a time, and now we don't have him.
When he arrived in his welcome video, he literally explicitly said, "I'm just here to get a move to another team." Like almost in those words, So Hull, I mean, I wouldn't want to move to Hull. Even if it was for a lot more money.
Do you think, let's say it's 400,000, do you think that's a good deal? Think we've done well there?
Considering that otherwise we get one more season out of him and then he goes for nothing, then yeah.
What's his legacy?
That goal against Argyle.
Absolutely. It really is. And the that photo of him halfway upside down. Magnificent.
From the same goal. But
the
whole goal. Yeah, that's his legacy. That's good.
Him?
He sort of cemented himself in our history for a bit. He hasn't gone to another League Two team, so we haven't got to hate him. We miss him. Yeah, we're going to miss him. He's a good player, and he was our main player last season, player of the season.
Yep.
And
created a lot of assists.
Yep. A little bit frustrating at times, but on the whole, was a solid performer and was pretty much all of our attacks went through him.
That's true.
We'll see.
Having said that, we didn't play with him this Saturday, and we gave ourselves a very good account.
Yeah, really I'm glad Joel Randall's there and that he looks so good because that's,
not to be too millennial, but I feel like we're really blessed in the wing positions. Like we've got some good forward thinking.
Well, I think actually we're a bit light, aren't we?
Do you think so?
Well, who replaces Williams?
Well,
at the moment, it's Jake Taylor.
No, I think you've got what you've got, all right, that's fair comment, but what we've got are fullbacks who could play there.
If that's the system we're going to do, sure, and we did that a bit last season. If anything, we've started with a system which we need more wingers than we did last season.
I think everything. It's hard to put the two things together because everything last season, like you said, came through Randall Williams. I think this season it's a completely different system. Actually, I think.
Well, it looks more like so far than going through Matt J.
Yeah.
If he started, but does that mean Matt J is becoming our main sort of creative player?
Maybe. I mean, maybe he is.
Maybe he is.
Maybe he is. I don't think that's mad.
I don't either, but it would just be. It maybe would be a bit surprising because he looked like he's been sort of slightly undervalued, or at least kind of being brought along very tentatively so far.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I keep saying we'll see, as if that's just you could just say that about all football. What's going to happen in football for the rest of the... we will see. But
it'll be a much shorter podcast, I suppose, if we just said that at the end. But I'll miss him. He brought a touch of flair that we like. Some really nice, skillful going round players. But you're right, frustrating. Sometimes he didn't make it past the first man with his balls.
Yeah, he does the odd game when I think on the whole he was excellent. A lot more than he was bad.
Once again, that's another player who's come because we've got a really good academy. No one denies that. But that's another player who's come to us, and it's different to a Tisdale kind of player where they'd come halfway through their career, crook, and then reinvigorate themselves kind of injury-wise.
No, he wasn't one of those guys.
He wasn't those one. He's come early on in his career, and we've done exactly what he wanted to do. We've put him back where he thinks he should be.
Yeah.
So if he gets promotion,
he was floundering before, wasn't he?
He was.
And
I think Stockley's in that category, and I think Williams, and that's going to be attractive to other players. And maybe Lewis Page is that kind of player as well. I realise it's more injury with him, but maybe maybe that's another positive for Exeter City.
Well, I definitely think Randall Williams has improved a lot since
he really has.
And it's done him no harm at all playing in the kind of rough and tumble of League Two. Do you know what I mean? He's had to battle down that wing, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's not a player who, dives on the floor at every opportunity.
No.
By any means, and because that's not really what happens in this division, is it? But so I think we've served him well for his career, and I think I wish him well.
Yeah.
But only because he's not another team in League Two. Otherwise, I would wish him unwell.
Thanks, Randall. Here's the main thing to talk about, though, in terms of someone we all wish very well.
Cha-ching.
Ollie Watkins.
Can we put a little cha-ching sound effect in there?
Oh, we really should.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's all cashless nowadays, so we can't do it. But Ollie Watkins,
boop,
who of course we sold.
That's the contactless going through.
We sold to Brentford. Is that 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
I don't know, 3, I think.
Yeah. Has moved from Brentford to Aston Villa for a club record signing somewhere in the region of 28 million pounds.
Look at that. That's mad, isn't it?
That's mad. And we get something like 15 or 20% of that.
Yeah, we get a load of... I mean, who cares what the actual amount is? It's enough.
It's amazing. Isn't
that crazy that, it's not, but isn't that good that, an Exeter City kind of graduate, a kid from this city, is just been signed for a kind of club record fee for a top, a Premier
club.
League side.
They're a massive club, aren't they? I think that's
great, isn't it?
Humongous. I'm really pleased for him. He's obviously a really great lad.
Yeah. All credit to Mr. Paul Tisdale.
Yeah.
If you'd,
And Tag.
Yeah, no, but Tisdale takes most of the credit, I think.
I think that's fair. And I think Watkins...
Definitely, it's fair enough that he takes some, for sure.
Yeah, definitely some. I think he'll do really well there. I think that money is incredibly helpful to us.
The difference is, annoyingly, we need it a lot more now than we did. Because of something that's completely out of everyone's control. Again, the pandemic, this is such a shame that, we've had this in the back of our minds for years, since he left, that at some point we're going to get this money, and it's gone exactly according to plan. Watkins has progressed and become a great player who fully deserves this big price tag and a move to a big club. We get our slice of the pie, and it's come at a time where every single business in the world is kind of on its knees, and you need to use all the money just to keep the club afloat. It's a shame, isn't it?
It is a shame. I mean, that's so much money that I think probably it will do that and more, which is great.
I hope so.
And like we say...
But before, we could have bought an entirely new squad. Now we've got to just spend it all on rent.
I think we could have had a fourth shirt that was just gold, literally made of gold.
Why not?
No one would ever wear it, but you know, look nice. So that's Watkins. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to the club for making that happen in the way that they did. Because, you know, in the past, we've not just been obviously we're always a selling club, but we've almost been please take our players, we'll take whatever. But to stick for the sell-on clause and all that stuff, and we didn't sell him as quickly as we maybe had to. You know, he stuck with us a long time. When there were definitely offers coming in, we held out.
Yeah. Again, there's a testament to the club and a testament to, again, that is somewhere where probably Tisdale does have to take a bit of credit there, you know, for making an environment around the club and a place for in the team that made him want to stay long enough to prove worthy of a decent price tag. You know,
absolutely. I wonder how Matt J feels, because they're old mates, aren't they? Watkins and Jay graduated together.
There's that amazing photo of them together.
They're about are they 12, 13?
Tiny little kids. Yeah. Well, I bet he feels pleased for him.
I'm sure he feels pleased for him, and I wonder if it's going to inspire him. You know,
maybe. The Littlest Samurai, that's what I'm going to call him this season. Seen him?
He's gone for a unique style, hasn't he?
Got his little top knot, hasn't he?
And a kind of beard.
Yeah.
Kind of beard is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
So that's Watkins. The other success, or not, is we talked about Ampadu last week.
Financially, this is not good for Exeter City. Well, it might be, but it's more of a kind of long-termist sort of view.
Indeed it is. Now, as much as Tag has heaped praise on Villa and Brentford and Watford for the way they've treated City in the negotiations of the players we've just talked about, the opposite is true of Chelsea, who tried to pay as little as they could for Ethan Ampadu. Ampadu's now out on loan again, staying in the country. He's on to Sheffield United.
Who knows what happened with Leipzig? I don't think he was fancied in the end, but ultimately, and he got a few injuries. But I think, my hunch is that seems like a good move for him.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, Leipzig are a massive. You know, they were Champions League tournament team. You know, in this last, did they get to the semis? I can't even remember now. But they were in the quarters.
Yeah, they did. Semi-finals.
So, you know, but maybe that was a leap too far.
Well, maybe, but Conte was playing in first team for Chelsea the season before. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I think it'll be that seems, like I said, like a good move for him, and hopefully we'll actually get to see him play.
And if Sheffield United buy him or Chelsea put him back in the first team,
have we got a sell-on clause for him too?
Well, it's all different, isn't it? Because that wasn't a proper contract.
No, it's not. It wasn't even a real sale, was it? Now?
But I believe the knock-ons. I believe there's all sorts of clauses as to what he does.
I think there's something to do with its appearances for Chelsea is the main one, isn't it?
Yes.
So if he's out on loan, it's unlikely to make too many appearances for
But I
Chelsea.
think if they sell him, then we get a cut of that.
All right, cool.
If that happens before the appearances happen or something.
We'll see.
But, you know, again, it's really a remarkable show of cash coming in because of how well run we've been.
Again, it's cool, isn't it, that there's two players this season playing in the Premier League who are both Exeter kids.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. So that's that. So thank you very much to Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins, Brentford, most of all Julian Tagg, Paul Tisdale and the rest for what they've done. Coming up next, back to the important business, of course, Exeter City, second league game of the season. Oh, we're playing a friendly this week, aren't we?
Like Weymouth or something, is it?
Weymouth away. So I think it's going to be streamed, so we're going to be able to watch that.
Really? I'm not paying a tenner for that.
No, I think it's just streamed
for free
on someone's Facebook
Brilliant.
Or whatever.
Thank you very much, Facebook.
Or YouTube.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Thanks, Zucco. But then we come back to another promotion candidate. We've got Port Vale at home.
Ooh.
More about that in a second. So Port Vale, the Valiants, come to St James Park on Saturday. They started the season with a 2-0 win at Crawley. They were in form before the season finished. Of course, they did the brilliant thing of they were the ones that kind of could have lost out the most in League Two by the season being cut, and they said, well, you got to do something. We'll be the ones that lose out. So a lot of credit to them for that.
Did they have much? Was that them? Was it?
That was them. Decision. They were just outside. Yeah. And they said, well, they did the opposite of Tranmere basically.
Okay. Thanks, Robbie.
Robbie Williams, famous fan. Stanley Matthews used to manage them. One of the oldest clubs in the country. Disputed.
Right. Okay.
1872 or something like that. Anyway, Port Vale. From Burslem in Stoke. So yeah, they had a 2-0 win on Saturday. Mark Cullen got both goals. He's a bit of a goal scorer.
Well, I've never heard of him, but yeah, we've just looked him up, and yeah, he's got goals everywhere he's been. So
he's definitely someone to watch out for.
The danger man.
Yeah, the danger man. They've also got Tom Pope, who's a bit more dangerous on Twitter, to be honest.
Okay.
Mainly to himself. Got himself banned from Twitter, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember all this. Yeah.
Of course, they've got maybe the world's greatest goalkeeper on the bench room.
Definitely the world's great. Well, yeah.
I mean, you've got to be good to be named after a fictitious dinosaur from a cartoon, haven't you?
Dino Visser.
Yeah. Didn't start on Saturday, so we probably won't see him. And then they've got Theo Robinson.
We will hear him, though, from the shouting from the sideline.
Yeah, we will. That South African lilt.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have him back. We won't see. No one's going to see anything because we can't go, which is going to be weird, isn't it?
So weird.
I walked past St James's Park the other day.
When the Forest Green game.
Before the Forest Green game, I was just walking up St James's Road, and they had the gate open. I don't know why, and I could see them all in there warming up. All the players warming up on the pitch.
Did they close?
It was about 10 minutes before kickoff.
Was it?
Yeah.
Did they close the gate at kickoff?
Yeah, I noticed on the stream that the gate was then closed after. So they're not just going to have that open, are they?
We'd all just stand there.
Yeah.
4,000 of us.
Yeah, there's a little steward guy there.
Oh yeah.
And I said, "Oh, did you get to watch the game?" As I sort of walked past, and he was like, "Oh no!" And then I saw him watching the game.
He just didn't want you to think.
My iPad.
It was a privileged position.
You liar!
Can't believe even the stewards are lying to us.
I know. Who can you believe if you can't believe a steward?
Indeed. Well, we can't go. So what can you do about that? They've got a game in midweek, like an actual game. They're playing Fleetwood in the Carabao. They're still going in that. Joey Barton's Fleetwood.
Yep.
By the way, I heard, there's a League One, League Two, Totally Football League Show podcast.
I didn't know. I thought we were the only podcast.
No, there are other podcasts, like the BBC do one. And
really?
Yeah.
Well, they've copied us, have they?
They've copied us.
This is our idea.
No.
Okay. All right.
It may have been our idea. Like the origins are, sketchy, but certainly they've got one now. Anyway, there's another one, a League One, League Two, and they were talking about Fleetwood and claimed that Joey Barton had really kept his head down since starting as a manager. And I thought, well, I know that's not true. I Googled it. It was only 12 months ago that he knocked out one of the front teeth of the Barnsley manager. And they were claiming this was keeping his head down.
Right. What they mean is he hasn't put a cigar out in anyone else's eye since becoming a manager.
Yeah, that's basically what they mean.
Right.
And during lockdown, he hasn't been the one we've been talking about. So I don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, that's Joey Barton. That's two connections away from us, I realise. But Port Vale have got them on Tuesday. I don't know. I mean, probably doesn't mean much, does it? Everyone's just kind of looking for games at the minute. I think it'll be a tough one. I think if we can come out of this with a good result, that'll be a really good indicator.
I think it really does make a difference that they've got a competitive game midweek and we haven't. I know we've got this weird friendly, but I don't think that's going to be too risky, and the people who need resting will get to rest, whereas that won't be the case for them. They are going to have to put out some kind of team, won't they, for that game?
Yeah.
So I think that is significant, but it's going to be a hard game. Like I said, they beat us before last season stopped, didn't they? They've got some players. They've bought some players. They bought that guy Theo Robinson in from Colchester,
who was handy against us, wasn't he, in the playoffs?
Yeah, and definitely in the league games he was as well. He looked good, and this is a tough one. It's not one we'll see, but it's, again, I can't keep saying we'll see, but
I think it'll be there'll be two things. It'll be interesting to see how they line up. Will it be the same kind of 11 that we started with Saturday just gone?
I think it will be.
I think it probably will be.
I think it might
well.
even be the same 11.
Could be. And then sub question, will they stand up against a team that are kind of physically strong like Port Vale, that are fancied, that have options on the bench? Very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
I feel really, really positive. I have to say that Salford game took me from the Bristol City and the Salford games took me from like, crumbs, what's this going to be like, to, hey, actually, they got a plan here.
I feel fine about it. But then I've got lower expectations than you, I think, anyway, haven't I? But
I do like to be positive.
But who knows? It's fine. Like,
it's not going to be a disaster.
I don't think so far, from what we've seen, it's not going to be terrible, is it?
No.
Not that there's anything to suggest it was, even under these circumstances. We've got a decent manager. We've got a decent squad, even with the people. We have lost quite a few kind of like players who were pretty key last season. Aaron Martin, Williams, Moxie. These were all players that were a big part of the team.
Yeah,
a couple of others probably as well.
Or Lee Martin, I would say, was probably in that category.
Lee Martin, of course, yeah. And but I like the look of the young players, and I think that's something that's going to make this season fun. To watch those guys actually get their chance to show what they can do. And I'm really impressed so far with all of them, and it's just really cool to be able to see them. And as much as I like watching Ampadu and Watkins play for these other teams, it's really exciting and fun to see the next lot come through and actually play first team games rather than just hearing these names. Oh, Ben Crescenti, apparently he's good. Jay Stansfield, and then have to watch them play for somebody else.
I know. Yeah, it's great, and I think we could see Dean and Key and Randall. We could see them getting 30 games this season.
Yeah,
it really seems like that could be the case. Yeah. So fair play, Matt Taylor. Fair play. All the youth team set up.
Let's get a Jose on though as well. I don't want a whole episode to go by without, waving that banner a bit.
Well, he'll probably start against Weymouth, won't he? And he was on the bench, wasn't he, Saturday?
Yes.
Didn't come on, but then actually we only made 2 changes 5 minutes from the end. Well, that's that. It's good to be back. Good to have the season starting. Hopefully it won't be too long before we can get back in the stadium. Obviously there's new rules and new blah, blah, blahs. But hopefully won't be too long and we can see some football in the flesh.
I hope so. And anyway, in the meantime, it's good that we're in a place where we at least can watch these streams and on the iFollow thing, and that the money, at least some of it, goes to the clubs. It's a way of supporting the club financially.
Yep.
And of also getting to see the games ourselves, so...
Totally.
It's actually going to end up costing about the same, won't it? Because it's about half the price of home admission.
Yeah.
But then you also...
can pay for your away games.
Pay for your away games as well. So it's going to work out about this. For me, anyway, as a kind of like,
pay on the gate.
Pay on the gate kind of adult. It works out about the same.
Well, I'd be interested to know who gets the money for what and how much and all that kind of stuff. I think there's some figures around. I'll look into that. We'll talk about that next time, maybe.
Someone's profiting off it in a kind of a less than morally idealistic way, I guarantee. But as long as we get a decent cut,
I'd also be interested to know what kind of numbers we're looking at of people who subscribe.
Yeah, and if you're someone who's sort of thinking, oh, I'm not going to pay that for the thing, then I don't know, you probably wouldn't be listening to this. But if you are, then,
I don't know. I mean, people have got the habit of radio, haven't they? So maybe you're not paying for all the games or something. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe people aren't going to be paying for everyone, but whatever.
I'm going to look into that and we'll report back. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Remember, you can get in touch with us in all the normal ways. We're on email, bigbankpod@gmail.com, on Twitter @bigbankpod, and on Facebook with the Big Bank Theory Podcast. Remember to subscribe to us so that this podcast appears early in the morning. We're going to be every Tuesday morning unless there's a significant weekday game.
Yeah, I kind of league. If there's a Tuesday night league match, maybe the episode will come out on the Wednesday evening or Wednesday morning or something like that. So, but it's definitely going to be regular, and all at least all the football league games will be covered. Yep.
The best way to know when we're going to appear, of course, is to subscribe to us on whichever podcast provider you listen. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Facebook, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, and don't worry, just because the Silkmen are no longer there, so we can't really talk about the fine establishment linked to that fine club. We'll find other things to talk about,
We'll scrape by and we'll think of other things that we can find.
Yeah.
In the meantime, thanks for listening. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.